Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I'm Anuja Kumar, and with me is Reshma Tiwari with the Midday News. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi hails countrymen for fighting new wave of COVID with great success. Terms people's trust on indigenous vaccine as country's strength. In his Mann Ki Baat program, Prime Minister terms vaccination of about 4.5 crore children a matter of great pride. Prime Minister says India re-establishing its national symbols by installing digital sculpture of Netaji at India Gate, urges everyone to visit National War Memorial to get inspiration. Mr. Modi refers to over 1 crore Mann Ki Baat postcards written by children from across the country and abroad. India's COVID-19 vaccination coverage crosses 165 crore 70 lakh under nationwide drive, over 75% of eligible population fully vaccinated. Nation pays tribute to Mahatma Gandhi on his 74th death anniversary today. Budget session of Parliament to begin tomorrow with President Ramnath Kovind's address to both the houses. High-pitch electoral campaign is in full swing for first two phases of assembly elections in Uttar Pradesh. North Korea conducts its biggest missile launch today. South Korea, Japan and US condemned the launch. And in Australian Open tennis, Rafael Nadal to take on Daniil Medvedev in men's singles final in Melbourne today. As the number of COVID-19 cases is rising fast in several parts of the country, we appeal to our listeners to be vigilant and to get fully vaccinated and help others, including children between 15 and 18 years, get vaccinated. With the new Omicron variant of coronavirus causing concern, please continue to follow these 3 simple steps to stay safe. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact national helpline numbers 011-2397-8046 and 1075. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today said India is fighting the new wave of COVID with great success. Addressing the nation in his Mann Ki Baat program on All India Radio, Mr. Modi said it is a matter of pride that about 4.5 crore children have been administered vaccine doses till now. He said about 60% of youth in the age group of 15 to 18 years have been vaccinated within just 3 to 4 weeks. He stressed that this will not only protect the youth but also help them to continue with their studies. Mr. Modi highlighted that within 20 days, 1 crore people have taken the precautionary dose as well. He termed people's trust on indigenous vaccine as the country's strength.
कोरोना की नई वेव से भारत बहुत सफलता के साथ लड़ रहा है। ये भी गर्व की बात है कि अब तक करीब 4.5 करोड़ बच्चों ने कोरोना वैक्सीन की डोज ले ली है। इसका मतलब यह हुआ कि 15 से 18 साल की आयु वर्ग के लगभग 60% यूथ ने 3 से 4 हफ्ते में ही टीके लगवा लिए हैं। इससे न केवल हमारे युवाओं की रक्षा होगी बल्कि उन्हें पढ़ाई जारी रखने में भी मदद मिलेगी। एक और अच्छी बात ये भी है कि 20 दिन के भीतर ही 1 करोड़ लोगों ने प्रिकॉशन डोज भी ले ली है। अपने देश की वैक्सीन पर देशवासियों का ये भरोसा हमारी बहुत बड़ी ताकत है।
Today is the death anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi. Mr. Modi said the 30th of January reminds everyone of the teachings of Bapu. The Prime Minister noted that Republic Day functions will now start from the 23rd of January on the birth anniversary of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. The celebrations will continue till the 30th of January, which is Mahatma Gandhi's death anniversary.
अब गणतंत्र दिवस समारोह 23 जनवरी यानी नेताजी सुभाष चंद्र बोस की जन्म जयंती से शुरू होगा और 30 जनवरी तक यानी गांधी जी की पुण्यतिथि तक चलेगा। इंडिया गेट पर नेताजी की डिजिटल प्रतिमा भी स्थापित की गई है। इस बात का जिस प्रकार से देश ने स्वागत किया, देश के हर कोने से आनंद की जो लहर उठी, हर देशवासी ने जिस प्रकार की भावनाएं प्रकट की, उसे हम कभी भूल नहीं सकते हैं।
The Prime Minister said a digital sculpture of Netaji has also been installed at India Gate and thanked people for welcoming this with enthusiasm. He added that in the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, India is re-establishing its national symbols through these efforts. He said that the Amar Jawan Jyoti near India Gate and the Jyoti lit at the National War Memorial in the vicinity were merged. At the National War Memorial, the names of all bravehearts who have been martyred since independence have been inscribed.
नेशनल वॉर मेमोरियल में आजादी के बाद से शहीद हुए देश के सभी जाबाजों के नाम अंकित किए गए हैं। मुझे सेना के कुछ पूर्व जवानों ने पत्र लिखकर कहा है कि शहीदों की स्मृति के सामने प्रज्वलित हो रही अमर जवान ज्योति शहीदों की अमरता का प्रतीक है। सच में अमर जवान ज्योति की ही तरह हमारे शहीद, उनकी प्रेरणा और उनके योगदान भी अमर है।
He urged everyone to visit the National War Memorial to get a different energy and inspiration. Prime Minister Modi said that many important national awards were also given away recently. One of them is Pradhan Mantri Rashtriya Bal Puraskar. These awards are given to children who have rendered courageous and inspirational work at a young age. He said the brave deeds of these children must be highlighted as other children will get inspiration and enthusiasm to bring glory to the country.
ये पुरस्कार उन बच्चों को मिले जिन्होंने छोटी सी उम्र में साहसिक और प्रेरणादायी काम किए हैं। हम सबको अपने घरों में इन बच्चों के बारे में जरूर बताना चाहिए। इनसे हमारे बच्चों को भी प्रेरणा मिलेगी और उनके भीतर देश का नाम रोशन करने का उत्साह जगेगा।
The Prime Minister expressed delight that more than 1 crore children have written to him through Man Ki Baat postcards. He stated that these postcards show how broad and wide the vision of the new generation is for the future of the country.
मुझे 1 करोड़ से ज्यादा बच्चों ने अपने मन की बात पोस्टकार्ड के जरिए लिखकर भेजी है। ये 1 करोड़ पोस्टकार्ड देश के अलग अलग हिस्सों से आए हैं, विदेश से भी आए हैं। समय निकालकर इनमें से काफी पोस्टकार्ड को मैंने पढ़ने का प्रयास किया है। इन पोस्टकार्ड्स में इस बात के दर्शन होते हैं कि देश के भविष्य के लिए हमारी नई पीढ़ी की सोच कितनी व्यापक और कितनी बड़ी है।
The Prime Minister emphasized that the enthusiasm of India's Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav is not limited to the country. He received 75 postcards from Croatia. Students of the School of Applied Arts and Design in Zagreb, Croatia have sent 75 cards to the people of India and congratulated them on the Amrit Mahotsav. The Prime Minister stated that India has been the sacred land of education and knowledge. He said great personalities of the country have also had a deep relationship with education. He elaborated that Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya founded the Banaras Hindu University and Mahatma Gandhi played an important role in the establishment of Gujarat Vidyapeeth.
पंडित मदन मोहन मालवीय जी ने जहां बनारस हिंदू विश्वविद्यालय की स्थापना की, वहीं महात्मा गांधी ने गुजरात विद्यापीठ के निर्माण में अहम भूमिका निभाई। गुजरात के आणंद में एक बहुत ही प्यारी जगह है वल्लभ विद्यानगर। सरदार पटेल के आग्रह पर उनके 2 सहयोगियों भाई काका और भीखा भाई ने वहां युवाओं के लिए शिक्षा केंद्रों की स्थापना की। इसी तरह पश्चिम बंगाल में गुरुदेव रविन्द्रनाथ टैगोर ने शांति निकेतन की स्थापना की। महाराजा गायकवाड़ भी शिक्षा के प्रबल समर्थकों में से एक थे। उन्होंने कई शिक्षण संस्थानों का निर्माण करवाया और डॉक्टर आम्बेडकर और श्री अरबिंदो समेत अनेक विभूतियों को उच्च शिक्षा के लिए प्रेरित किया। ऐसे ही महानुभावों की सूची में एक नाम राजा महेंद्र प्रताप सिंह जी का भी है।
Mr. Modi said this love of Indians for nature and living beings was greatly appreciated the world over. Mr. Modi also remembered a song of Bharat Ratna Bhupen Hazarika, which praises the lush green surroundings of Kaziranga and its wildlife. He said rhino poaching affects Kaziranga and 37 rhinos were killed in 2013 and 32 in 2014 by the poachers.
কাজিরঙার চিরসেউজ পরিবেশ হস্তি ব্যাঘ্র রে পার এক খড়গড় গড় পৃথিবী এসাই পক্ষীর খুদিয়া প্রকাশ মোর কাজিরঙা নয় যে বন্য।
The Prime Minister spoke about the popularity of Indian culture and said it is a big attraction in Latin America and South America. He elaborated how Indian culture is making its mark in Argentina.
आज मैं आपको अर्जेंटीना में फहरा रहे भारतीय संस्कृति के परचम के बारे में बताऊंगा। अर्जेंटीना में हमारी संस्कृति को बहुत पसंद किया जाता है। 2018 में मैंने अर्जेंटीना की अपनी यात्रा के दौरान योग के कार्यक्रम में योगा फॉर पीस में हिस्सा लिया था। यहाँ अर्जेंटीना में एक संस्था है हस्तिनापुर फाउंडेशन। आपको सुनकर के आश्चर्य होता है ना, कहाँ अर्जेंटीना और वहाँ भी हस्तिनापुर फाउंडेशन। यह फाउंडेशन अर्जेंटीना में भारतीय वैदिक परंपराओं के प्रसार में जुटा है। इसकी स्थापना 40 साल पहले एक मैडम प्रोफेसर एडा एल्ब्रेट ने की थी। आज प्रोफेसर एडा एल्ब्रेट 90 वर्ष की होने जा रही है।
Lastly, the Prime Minister urged people to not use single-use plastic and to go vocal for local. He also reminded everyone to work wholeheartedly for the Atmanirbhar Bharat campaign.
Over 165 crore 70 lakh COVID-19 vaccine doses have been administered so far under the nationwide vaccination drive in the country. More than 62 lakh vaccine doses were administered in the last 24 hours. Meanwhile, India's active COVID-19 caseload currently stands at over 18 lakh 84,000. The recovery rate is currently at 94.21%. Over 75% of the eligible population in the country is now fully vaccinated. In a tweet, Union Health Minister Mansukh Mandavia said, with the mantra of Sabka Saath and Sabka Prayas, India has achieved the goal of vaccinating 75% of its adult population with both doses of COVID-19 vaccine.
Over 164 crore 36 lakh vaccine doses have been provided to states and union territories so far. The vaccines have been given through the central government free of cost channel and through direct state procurement category. The Health Ministry said over 12 crore 43 lakh balance and unutilized COVID vaccine doses are still available with the states and UTs.
You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi hails countrymen for fighting new wave of COVID with great success, terms people's trust on indigenous vaccine as the country's strength. In his Mann Ki Baat program, Prime Minister terms vaccination of about 4.5 crore children a matter of great pride. Prime Minister says India re-establishing its national symbols by installing digital sculpture of Netaji at India Gate, urges everyone to visit National War Memorial to get inspiration. Mr. Modi refers to over 1 crore Mann Ki Baat postcards written by children from across the country and abroad. India's COVID-19 vaccination coverage crosses 165 crore 70 lakh under nationwide drive. Over 75% of eligible population fully vaccinated. Nation pays tributes to Mahatma Gandhi on his 74th death anniversary today. Budget session of Parliament to begin tomorrow with President Ramnath Kovind's address to both the houses. High-pitch electoral campaign is in full swing for first 2 phases of assembly elections in Uttar Pradesh. North Korea conducts its biggest missile launch today. South Korea, Japan and US condemn the launch. And in Australian Open tennis, Rafael Nadal to take on Daniil Medvedev in men's singles final in Melbourne today. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो खुद से वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
Welcome back to the Midday News on All India Radio. The nation is paying homage to Father of the Nation Mahatma Gandhi on his 74th death anniversary today. The day is also observed as Martyrs' Day. Mahatma Gandhi was assassinated on this day in 1948. President Ramnath Kovind laid a wreath at the Samadhi of Mahatma Gandhi at Rajghat in the national capital. Prime Minister Narendra Modi paid floral tributes. Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla, Housing and Urban Affairs Minister Hardeep Singh Puri, Army Chief General Manoj Mukund Naravane, Navy Chief Admiral R. Hari Kumar, and Air Force Chief Air Chief Marshal Vivek Ram Chaudhary, Defence Secretary Ajay Kumar were among those who offered tributes to the Father of the Nation at Rajghat. An inter-religious prayer meeting was organized on this occasion. The nation also observed a 2-minute silence at 11 a.m. on Martyrs' Day today. Union Home and Cooperative Minister Amit Shah has unveiled a grand wall mural of Mahatma Gandhi at Sabarmati riverfront on Martyrs' Day today. As our nation celebrates the 75th year of independence, a series of events are being organized by the government as part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. To commemorate the occasion as a Janotsav, All India Radio News brings its listeners a special quiz on India's freedom movement and its glorious history. The quiz is being conducted every Monday and Tuesday in the morning news. The next question of Amrit Mahotsav quiz will be shared with the listeners tomorrow. And now, let's listen to our special program, Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav.
Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. Birth of a Nation. India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of this struggle every day.
Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram Patita Pavan Sita Ram.
Today we pay homage to Father of the Nation, Mahatma Gandhi, who breathed his last on 30th of January 1948.
In September 1947, Gandhiji arrived in Delhi from Calcutta, where he had gone to appeal for peace following the partition riots. He stayed at Birla House in Delhi. Most of his time at Birla House was spent in writing letters, meeting visitors, and attending prayers.
हिंदू धर्म में, सच्चा हिंदू धर्म में ऐसी कास्ट को, छुआ-छूत को, एक जंगली और एक बड़ा है, उन सब चीजों को स्थान नहीं रह सकता है। उसमें सर्व धर्मों का समुच्चय समावेश होना ही चाहिए। अगर नहीं होता है तो मेरी निगाह में वो हिंदू धर्म नहीं है।
Gandhiji began his last fast to restore communal harmony on 13th of January 1948. After 7 days, on the 20th of January, there was an attempt to assassinate Gandhiji when a person threw a bomb at Birla House. But it didn't harm Gandhiji, and he said,
"If I am to die by bullet of a madman, I must do so smiling. There must be no anger within me. God must be in my heart and on my lips."
When Gandhiji was offered an enhanced security cover, he said,
"Those who preferred security to freedom had no right to live."
On the evening of 30th of January, when Gandhiji was being escorted to the prayer meetings by his two grandnieces, Nathuram Godse emerged from the crowd. He bowed to him and shot him 3 times at point-blank range. Gandhiji slumped to the ground, mortally wounded.
Speaking on the All India Radio, Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru informed the nation about the loss as,
"The light has gone out of our lives and there is darkness everywhere. And I do not quite know what to tell you and how to say it. Our beloved leader, Bapu as we called him, the father of the nation, is no more."
The following day, an enormous crowd estimated at nearly 1 million people lined the 5-mile route of the funeral procession to the bank of the Yamuna River. The ashes were kept on the river bank for 3 days before they were taken away for immersion in Sangam in Prayagraj. His memorial Rajghat in New Delhi is a pilgrimage for millions of his followers.
We also remember Kudumala Rangarao, who ushered in an era of social reform and inspired even Mahatma Gandhi to follow in his footsteps.
Born into a poor family in Kasargod, Rangarao envisioned empowerment of the depressed classes through education and steered change in a society way back in the 1890s. Rangarao set up schools for the downtrodden. He called them Panchama schools.
To persuade the kids to attend schools, he arranged for midday meals and 2 paise per day to the parents to develop an interest and motivate the families to get their children to schools. By marrying off his own widowed daughter to the Zamindar of Kumaramangalam, he set an example of intercaste marriage and widow remarriage in India.
Following his inspiration, Gandhiji married one of his sons with the daughter of C. Rajagopalacharis. Mahatma Gandhi said,
I discerned social loyalty from Mr. Rangarao. He's an inspiration and a guide for me. He's my teacher when it comes to the upliftment of the untouchables.
Kudumal Rangarao breathed his last in Mangalore on 30th of January 1928. AIR News pays homage to the noble soul.
30th of January is also the death anniversary of Makhanlal Chaturvedi. Born in Hoshangabad on the 4th of April 1889, he was inspired by Bal Gangadhar Tilak and Gandhiji. He was the illustrious editor of Prabha and later Karmavir, the journals which enlightened the masses against British imperialism. He was imprisoned by the British government many times, and his journal was forcibly closed down by the British. The British excesses could not bend the will of the valiant patriot poet. Once out of jail, Makhanlal restarted his journal.
After independence, Makhanlal refrained from seeking a share in power and continued to exhort the people through speech and writing. He continued to walk on the path shown by Mahatma Gandhi to build an equitable society. He was awarded the first Sahitya Academy Award in Hindi for his work Him Tarangini in 1955. The Government of India awarded him the Padma Bhushan in 1963. Makhanlal Chaturvedi breathed his last on 30th of January 1968 in Bhopal. We salute the great nationalist.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
Best wishes to all consumers for Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Hallmark ensures purity of gold. Always purchase hallmarked gold jewelry. For any consumer-related complaints, please contact National Consumer Helpline's toll-free number 14404. Issued in public interest by Department of Consumer Affairs, Government of India. Jago Grahak Jago.
Ahead of the budget session of Parliament, Rajya Sabha Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu has convened an all-party meeting tomorrow to ensure smooth functioning of the House. The meeting will take place virtually. The government has also convened an all-party meeting on the same day to seek cooperation from all political parties for smooth functioning of the budget session. This meeting will also be held virtually in view of the COVID-19 situation. The floor leaders of political parties in the Rajya Sabha and the Lok Sabha have been invited for the meeting. The budget session will begin tomorrow with President Ramnath Kovind's address to both the Houses of Parliament. Economic Survey 2021-22 will be tabled on the same day in the Parliament. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will present the Union Budget on the 1st of next month. Both the Houses of Parliament will function in shifts to ensure COVID safety protocol. In Uttar Pradesh, the high-pitch electoral campaign is going on for the first 2 phases of the 7-phase assembly elections, and the star campaigners and prominent leaders of various political parties engaged in public rallies after finalization of the candidates for the first phase. The door-to-door canvassing and virtual appeals to the voters also continue. The political activities have already begun in other poll-bound states including Goa, Uttarakhand, Punjab and Manipur, with the party leaders deliberating in marathon meetings to finalize their electoral strategies and formations even while giving shape to its list of candidates. Meanwhile, the picture of the electoral battle in the first phase of assembly elections became clear, with mostly multi-cornered contests on cards after withdrawal of candidature. There are 623 candidates in fray for 58 seats included in this phase. Maximum 15 candidates each are vying for Mathura and Muzaffarnagar seats, while minimum 5 candidates are in the fray for Iglas seat. In the initial phase, 58 assembly constituencies, including 9 reserved for the scheduled castes, will go to polls on the 10th of February. The second phase of polling in Uttar Pradesh will be conducted on the 14th of February in 55 assembly constituencies from 9 districts, including 9 assembly constituencies reserved for the scheduled castes.
For Manipur Assembly polls, BJP today announced its candidates for all 60 seats. Chief Minister N. Biren Singh will contest from Hengeng seat. Minister T. Biswajit Singh has been fielded from Thongju constituency. Former bureaucrat K. Raghumani Singh has been given a ticket from Uripok. Sitting MLA Ms. Nemcha Kim Jen will fight from Kangpok P seat. North Korea has conducted its biggest missile launch since 2017. South Korea reported that the launch took place at 7:52 local time today off North Korea's east coast. Japan, South Korea and the US have all condemned the launch, the 7th test this month. The UN prohibits North Korea from ballistic and nuclear weapons tests and has imposed strict sanctions. The United States called on North Korea to refrain from further destabilizing acts in a statement issued by the US military's Indo-Pacific Command. But the East Asian state regularly defies the ban, and leader Kim Jong-un has vowed to bolster his country's defenses. South Korea's National Security Council said Sunday's test was an intermediate-range ballistic missile, which would be the biggest missile tested since November 2017. Japanese and South Korean officials estimated that the missile reached an altitude of 2,000 km and flew for 30 minutes to a distance of 800 km. Finally, it landed in the Sea of Japan.
In Australian Open tennis tournament, singles final between Rafael Nadal and Daniil Medvedev has begun. US Open champion Medvedev is bidding to become the first man in the Open era to win his first 2 majors at successive Grand Slams. On the other hand, Rafael Nadal will aim to win a record 21st Grand Slam title. Nadal shares the men's record at 20 major titles with Roger Federer and Novak Djokovic. Earlier, in women's doubles, Barbara Krejcikova and Katerina Siniakova lift the title with a 6-7, 3, 6-4, 6-3 win over Anna Danilina and Beatriz Haddad-Maia. With the win in All-Australian men's doubles final, Nick Kyrgios and Thanasi Kokkinakis claimed their first major title with 7-5, 6-4 victory over their compatriots Matthew Ebden and Max Purcell.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi hails countrymen for fighting new wave of COVID with great success. Terms people's trust on indigenous vaccine as the country's strength. In his Mann Ki Baat program, Prime Minister terms vaccination of about 4.5 crore children a matter of great pride. Prime Minister says India re-establishing its national symbols by installing digital sculpture of Netaji at India Gate urges everyone to visit National War Memorial to get inspiration. Mr. Modi refers to over 1 crore Mann Ki Baat postcards written by children from across the country and abroad. India's COVID-19 vaccination coverage crosses 165 crore 70 lakh under nationwide drive. Over 75% of eligible population fully vaccinated. Nation pays tribute to Mahatma Gandhi on his 74th death anniversary today. Budget session of Parliament to begin tomorrow with President Ramnath Kovind's address to both the houses. High-pitch electoral campaign is in full swing for first 2 phases of assembly elections in Uttar Pradesh. North Korea conducts its biggest missile launch today. South Korea, Japan and US condemned the launch. And in Australian Open tennis tournament, singles final between Rafael Nadal and Daniil Medvedev is underway. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website www.newsonair.gov.in and News on AIR app. And with that, we end the midday news.